So I think 2020, what a year, right? Pandemic and everything like that. A lot of people were staying at home. They didn't have much to do. And what a surprise that people actually thought, I have nothing to do. Why don't I start investing? Honestly, even us, we put a lot more time into investing. We spent so much time learning about everything. 2020 was a really different year. And I think I read reports on Rakuten where you guys were having crazy growth amount of users every single month in 2020. And it's not just Rakuten, it's international brokers and everything like that, right? Yeah. But yeah, I think a lot of our audience or a lot of people, they don't know where to start. You see, investing can be very overwhelming. There's so many things for you to go through. Financial statements. If you're not a finance guy, like how do I go through all of this? If I invest my money in this company, am I going to make money or not? So why don't we start off today's session with how can a beginner investor, for the first time, I'm ready to invest, what do I do? Or when should I start? Should I be preparing everything and then starting? Or, should I just go along the way?
2020, I think, looking back, right, when I started my career in RHB, the awareness was definitely not there. A lot of people were still afraid. A lot of people were very cautious when it comes to investing, right? It's basically putting your money into something that has a potential to, the value has potential to decrease. You put 1,000 ringgit there, a month later you probably will get back 500. So I think the cautious feeling was there. And 2020, it opens up to everyone. The fact that I think a lot of people need that secondary income to support the whatever lifestyles you're in. I think the awareness is a lot of people's eyes were open in 2020. Hence, you see that's why the market participation rate went up high. So to answer your question, right, I think of course I wouldn't go through all the details on looking into which kind of report you should be looking at, which kind of company, how do you decide a company to invest in. I won't go to the nitty-gritty details on it. But basically, I think a lot of you guys out there will probably own a CDS account already, an account that allows you to trade stocks. I think a lot of people will probably read our market research reports and everything already. I think a lot of people, in my opinion, a lot of people are already mentally prepared to invest. Probably they're already at a stage where they really even put their money into their CDS account ready to invest already. But I think the biggest hurdle is to make that execution of trade. I think that's the biggest hurdle in my opinion. A lot of people, I felt that a lot of people were holding back because you kind of have to be very careful, right? Because you don't want your investment, your money to lose out. You are basically playing very, very safe. And for me, if I have an advice to you, I would say, as cliche as it sounds, just do it, man. Have a little faith. Have a little bit faith on your investment decision, because I believe that some of you guys did your homework already. You guys really follow a lot of you guys educators' contents. I think you guys already know what not to do and what to do already. So the only thing maybe you're lacking is the confidence to make that trade into a particular stocks lah.
Actually, I agree. When I started, right, it's always like, wow, is it the right time to invest now? And then when the market is up, you're like, wow, the market is so high already. Maybe it's not time to invest now. And then when it drops, you're like, hey, the market can drop lower. I'm going to wait for the perfect time. But the truth of the matter is there's no perfect time, right? There's no one knows. If you can tell the market future, you'll be a billionaire already. So no one knows what will happen, which is why I agree with you, Mun Keong. The best time to start is always yesterday. The next best time is today, it's now, right? And I also think, right, that in a way, it can actually be good if you lose money in your first few trades or investments. See, why I think this is that if your first investment turns out that you're lucky and you make 50% returns, all of a sudden you think you're a god investor. Like, wow, this is so easy, right? Actually, a lot of people felt this when they started investing in 2020. They felt like this is so easy. I can quit my job and be a full-time investor. But it gives people that false sense of ability. Like, you know, the first few trades you make, everything is 20-30% up. You feel like it's so easy, and you think you take an amount of risk that is not realistic or sustainable lah. Which is why when you lose money in your first few trades or investments, it can actually be good for you, because then you know you'll spend more time doing research. After that, you'll be more careful with your money. You make sure that you only invest what you know you can lose, and you're very careful with it. So yeah, I think don't have to wait for the perfect time. The best time is always now, right?
I definitely agree with you, but the fact that when people lose money in the first trade, right, people now tend to get discouraged by it.
Exactly.
That's why I think people don't like losing. Right? I mean, people don't like losing.
Human nature.
In fact, to be honest with the viewers out there who are looking to invest in the stock market, right, I can tell you this, that you are bound to have some losses along your investing journey. This, you cannot avoid this thing.
Exactly.
So I think if you really start investing, if you do invest on Monday itself and touch wood, you lose, right? My advice to you is that don't get discouraged by it, but instead use it as your learnings. Just like you're driving a car, right? When you first time drive your car, probably you will langgar the cone, actually langgar the cone. But it doesn't discourage. It doesn't.
Didn't happen to me. Only you.
Maybe me lah. So, but it didn't discourage me from saying, hey, you know what? I'm not going to drive anymore. Driving is just not for me. But instead, we learn from it, and we can be a better driver, investor in one day. So yeah.
Actually, in January and February, we got a lot of DMs from our followers on Instagram, right, asking us like, "Hey, I started investing in January. I'm in negative now. I'm so confused." I'm like,
right.
What? I mean, you shouldn't be confused. It's the nature of investing, right? I think a lot of people who got started this last year, they just thought that stocks will go up forever, and we wish it would happen. But like you said, it's a process. There's ups, there's downs. It's very normal. Over the long run, we know that if we hold long enough and we buy into the right stocks, we will be in the green lah, regardless of economic conditions or whatnot. But yeah, going back to buying your first stock and making the decision that today is the day I'm going to perhaps execute and I'm going to buy my first lot of shares in the Malaysian market. What was your first share that you bought, and what was your experience with it?
Let me tell you guys out there who have never pressed the execute, never purchased a stock before I can simply tell you this, that you probably remember it after a lot of years, after many years, right? So up until now, I think I still remember the stock that I first bought. Let me tell you the reason why I bought it. Just like many of you guys out there, I work in investment. I work in an investment firm, right? And like many of you guys out there, I was holding myself not to make my first purchase on the stocks. Even though in an investment firm, I'm like seeing the stock market every day, but I'm not making any purchase because I hold myself back. I scared. I don't know what am I doing. So hence, I'm not making any this investment decision at that point of time. But after a while, I was that time. I think a lot of IPOs listed, especially those 20-30 cents one. I noticed that it spiked up a lot on the first day on its listing, right? Okay. So I noticed this. I noticed this pattern, okay. I noticed this pattern, okay. So there was this IPO coming up, and then I felt like okay I think this would be a good opportunity for me to test my first investment on an IPO, because according to my observation, then it will tend to go up. So when it go up a few cents, then I run away then just to get that taste of how trading the stock market looks like. So unfortunately the stock didn't go up that day. That's the only IPO that at time didn't go up on the first listing day. It actually went back down. It actually traded below its IPO price on the listing day itself. So I was pretty distraught. I was like, come on, man! It's like cannot be. I seen all the IPOs performing so well. Why this? So it was a great learning for me. by this learning, I already know that you just cannot simply buy shares, just because other shares are performing, right? You just can't simply buy, because I particularly doesn't know anything about it. I just know that it's an IPO share. So it was a great learning process for me, but I never get discouraged. So
That's
keep
good.
on,
Yeah.
learning and stuff
good.
like that.
What
about you,
stock was
Emil?
it? What stock was it that you bought before I get mine?
Malakoff.
Oh, okay.
Remember? Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It was a Malakoff stock, I remember. What about
So
you?
I will share my story as well. But before I get there, why don't all of you here, why don't you guys let us know down in the comments what was the first stock that you bought? I'm sure all of you remember. Actually, this is one of the
Remember.
I remember this better than anything else. Yeah, so let us know what was the first stock you ever bought and how do you guys feel about it? Okay, so my story. I saved up a bit of money, right? I just started work, I think 4 or 5 months, right? And I saved money. I didn't know I was going to invest. Okay, so I'm not saying this just because I'm talking to you or anything like that, but of course we use Rakuten lah. Okay, Rakuten was my broker of choice. So if any of you want to use Rakuten to buy your first stock, make sure you use our link down in the description below. You get 500 Rakuten points. But anyway, I did some research. Actually, I didn't lah. So end of the day, I thought, okay, the easiest company to buy out there, the favorite bank that I like is Maybank, right? And Maybank at the time was the biggest company in Malaysia. So I thought, safe investment, I'm going to buy it. And why I bought it also was because it pays good dividends, right? Maybank pays like 6-7%, I think, at the time, dividends. And I think a lot of new investors are very attracted to this dividend play. I think a lot of YouTubers and a lot of financial advisors talk about, wow, I make 10,000 a month from dividends. So, wow, how big is your capital, man? But yeah, I was attracted to that. I bought Maybank for dividends. It was near ex-dividend date. So I thought, free money for me, man. Then I found out that after ex-dividend date, the price will drop by the same amount of the dividends. So yeah, but that was my first ever stock. I really remember it. I actually thought I was going to be some dividend investor. It's going to start rolling in for me. You know, a fun fact about dividends, right? Microsoft just paid dividends, and Bill Gates got $57 million in 1 quarter. Imagine, $57 million. But yeah, I think speaking of all these styles, of investing, last time when I bought, I thought dividends was a way to go. But I think there are a few other ways to invest, right? I think there are a few different methodologies as to what kind of investor you are. So Mun Keong, maybe you can share with us a bit some of the styles maybe, and then which one you prefer.
I think, yes, I agree. There's a lot of styles out there. Can name a few: dividend investing, as you mentioned, blue chips investing, what else? Growth investing, right? So, but I think the thing that I want to highlight to you guys is that it doesn't matter what styles you use. The most important, again, another cliche, but the most important thing is your style, right? Because I think, I can mention like a couple of styles out there, but if it doesn't suit you, then it doesn't suit you. You gotta ask yourself first, what is what's the nature investor in you, lah? Like, are you a person that doesn't have any patience, or are you a person that are looking for perhaps only a short to medium term trades, or perhaps are you a person that that doesn't like to look at the screen? I just want to buy some good shares, receive the dividends as passive income, and then hold it for years. So all of these styles, right? It may fit you, right? It may fit you. It probably wouldn't fit me. Like for me, right? I understand myself is that I'm not a patience guy. I don't have a lot of patience in the sense that when I buy a share, right, I cannot wait, and I cannot put it there and then wait for it, put it in my portfolio and wait a couple of years to receive dividends or to wait for the price appreciation go up. I don't have that patience.
Same as me.
I don't have that patience. Like I know a lot of people were preaching about dividend investing, blue chips. You have to hold your shares for a long time. I'm not against that. It's just that for me, it doesn't suit me because again, I don't have that patience. So for me, I like shares. I like to hold shares for short to medium term only, perhaps 1 month, 1.5 months, 2 months, mostly, or perhaps the most would be half a year, and then they say I don't see myself holding the share for long time unless really I have extra money and I just want to put it there and receive dividends. But for me, I like growth investing. Technology stairs, January, February, there's a lot of technology stairs. Mun Keong took the opportunity at there. But of course, I don't hold it for long lah. As long as it hits my target price, then I sold it off already. That's as simple as it is. Yeah. So that's how I invest and trade.
Maybe just very briefly, how do you find these stocks that you see potential that you're gonna invest in for the short term for growth?
Sorry?
How do you find these stocks? How do you filter these stocks that you think? Just very briefly lah. Don't have to be so detailed.
I tend how to say to be honest, I'm not very good in those numbers. Talk about PE ratio, talk about earnings per share and everything, right? Yeah. A lot of people say that, hey, you got to know this to in order for you to trade better, you got to know this. To be fair, right? I'm not very good in this, but what I see myself comfortable in trading when I see charts better. So I'm more towards a technical. I'm more towards the technical side. Analysis. So fundamental. Know a bit of a company, but when people ask me, hey, what's the PE ratio? What's the EPS? What's the NTA or whatnot? I find it difficult to answer because I
don't know.
Have very surface level info about it. But when I look at charts, I feel comfortable in trading it because those kind of indicators, right? I've been using it since when I started in RHB, so it feels familiar to me. Hence, that's why I use it on my trading and my investment strategies.
Very, very interesting. Yeah, actually, I've been trying to learn technical analysis for a while already. Actually,
not easy.
I know it's not easy. It's very hard. I tried day trading, but let's save that for another day. I don't want to tell the story of that. a lot of our followers actually also ask about how do you see charts? Because sometimes once in a while I'll post charts, right? But then maybe we should have another session that we can go through, a bit of technical analysis, very basic support and resistance and stuff. But very interesting. For me personally, I'm also an impatient person. Maybe it's a millennial thing. Right?
Maybe.
I cannot buy AT&T and then let it wait for 10 years to get 50% return. Not for me lah. Not for me. So I'm a growth investor as well, but I look more from a fundamental analysis and then use technical analysis to get my entry points lah. Okay.
Cool.
But growth investing, like you said, right? Everybody is different one. Everybody has their own different style. Nothing is the right way to do things. This is just my personal story. So growth investing is definitely something that it's like a seesaw up and down, except the seesaws are much wilder than compared to blue chip or dividend style investing. So to give you guys an example, in 2020, actually, my investing returns with growth stocks was over 100% in 2020. Yeah, it was quite good. It's quite good. Nice. But in the last week of February, right, tech saw a massive sell-off because of treasury yields increasing and all. Tech saw a massive sell-off. And I was down 30-40%, I think, in the 2 to 3 weeks. So that again is like, people like to see the 100% in 2020, but they don't realize that, the 30-40% drop that comes is just part of the game when you do growth investing.
Right.
And if you cannot stomach it, right? If you cannot see your 10,000 ringgit dropping to 6,000 in a matter of weeks, then perhaps growth investing is not for you at this point, right? Which is why I think for beginner investors, right, it's super good to try a mix of both, right? So I think in the Malaysian stock market, it's quite simple to look for blue chips. It's quite simple to look for dividends, and then some of the companies that are growing. Maybe try to invest in all three, and then just get the experience of how these things swing, right? Because blue chip stock won't move 5-6% a day.
Correct.
The IPOs that you buy 20 cents, that one definitely 6-7% a day is a normal thing, right? But that's what I think lah. Different styles for different people. I think the important thing is, of course, number one, you really have to try it lah. I think you really have to first-hand experience how the stock moves and how it affects the portfolio. I think you really need to have that feel of owning a stock in your portfolio. But I mean, you can
do practice all you want. You can read as much as you want, but ultimately, if you don't press that execute button to purchase your first stock, then you will never able to experience all of this. That's and number two, I think. You say it quite right, right? There's both of us. Yes, we look at growth investing, but for you guys out there, perhaps as you say lah, if you cannot stomach the volatility, right, then perhaps growth investing is not for you, and it's totally okay. It's totally fine.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's many other ways out there that you could actually look for, many investing styles that you could look for, then it can actually suit you. Perhaps you like blue chips that doesn't move that much. You are totally fine with getting dividends quarterly or yearly. Then by all means, yeah.
Exactly. You're right.
Right.
Hey, we have a question from one of our subscribers, Ahmad Arshad. He asks, where can you get the Rakuten Trade shirt? Hey, how come I also don't have, man, Mun Keong? Under Armour and all. Can you just lean back a bit? Let's see the shirt.
This one exclusive only. I think this one was back during the age run, if I'm not mistaken, a rat race. I still remember good times where we are allowed to go and run, participate in the marathon. I think good times a couple of years ago.
Okay. Maybe we can get some merch from Rakuten Trade and we can give it out to some of our followers in the future lah.
Propose to my boss.
All right, okay. Okay, we have another question from Chill Party. What is a good profit % rate to close the trade? I'll take it first lah. I think for me, when I do trades, because I do investing, but I do some swing trades as well, I don't look at a specific % to say this is how much I want to get and this is my price target because of it. I know some of my friends that do that. They buy a stock and then they say at 20 cents, then they say I'll sell at 40 cents. Then I ask them, how do you know it will go to 40 cents? They say, I don't know, but I will hold as long as it doesn't get 40 cents. So that's not really my style. I usually use a bit of technical analysis. I look at resistance levels. I look at, I don't want to sound too out of the zone for a lot of people here, but I use a bit of Fibonacci as well to see where I should sell. So no specific percentage for me to close a trade for profits. But my piece of advice is always know when to cut your losses. I think best investors always need to know that even if you don't know where you're going to close for a profit, always know what is the maximum loss you're willing to take. And then at that point, you just have to say, I'm going to sell out. Right? How about you, Mun Keong? What do you think about this?
Wow, you really hit the right point. A lot of people actually, when they go into trade, right, I think they only know when to sell, as in when to sell when the price goes up. I think one of the things that I've learned throughout my whole investing journey is that it's very important to actually know when to exit before you even place a trade. I think that's for me. I mean, I find that after lose out so many trades already, right? So I find that it's very important to actually cut your losses short and let your winners run. Of course, another cliche wording out there. So, but then again, like how to do that? Like Mun Keong, you say so easy. You say cut your losses short. Let your how to do it, right? And after talking to a lot of people and reading a lot of stuff, I think if you really want to cut your losses short, one of the very important things is to really decide when you want to get out, even before you place that trade.
Exactly.
And of course, you can decide to take a profit later on. That one is secondary. To answer your question, right, what is a good profit percentage rate? I think depends on individuals as well. I tend to have a risk to reward ratio. Ideally, your reward ratio should be higher than your risk. Like let's say you want to have a 200 ringgit profit, right? Then your risk will be 100 lah. So it's a 2 to 1.
2 to 1.
Yeah. So it can be 3 to 1. Depends on you lah. But for me, the percentage depends every time I trade. I don't really put a
actually yeah, you're right. Now that you say that, I think to summarize this whole thing, like Mun Keong said, when you enter a trade, know when you're going to exit first, at least for a stop loss, right? So let's say if your stop loss means 100 ringgit loss when you exit, then your profit should at least be I would say 2 to 3 times that lah. 200, 300.
Yeah.
So if you stop loss 100 ringgit loss and then your profit is at 50 ringgit, why want to risk 100 ringgit to make 50, right? Doesn't make sense lah. Okay. Let's go to the next question from Yusuf. I think this is a good question. What is the right amount for trading? He feels that he loses a lot of money on the fees.
Right. You want to start first or?
No, go ahead, Mun Keong.
Okay. Again, right amount of trading, ideally for me, it would be 1,000. 1,000 would be fine. But now that Bursa allows 100 ringgit in minimum investment, you can start with 100 ringgit as well. But ideally, it would be 1,000 for me. But again, I think this is a very subjective question. It depends on individual. Like you can't expect a fresh grad or a fresh grad who haven't started work or just about to receive the first salary to fork out 1,000 ringgit just for investing. It's a big burden for them. Yeah. So again, it really depends on individuals.
True.
And
okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah. Okay. For me, I think if I'm not mistaken, if we make a 1,000 ringgit trade, the fees are 7 ringgit to open and then 7 ringgit to close, right?
Yeah.
On Rakuten? Okay.
If the amount is lesser than 1,000 ringgit, yes.
Okay. So for me, I think 1,000 ringgit is a sweet spot. That's what I started off with as well, 1,000 ringgit. The reason for this is not the number that I just pluck out from the sky, but 1,000 ringgit, if you're looking at fees of 14 ringgit to open and close a trade, it means it's a 1.4% fee. That you will have to. So if you make a profit of 1.4% on the trade, if you net off the fees, you'll be break even, which I think is fine. I think having a 1.4% fee is okay. It's reasonable. If you have 100 ringgit to invest, I honestly wouldn't really recommend it, because if you're going to put 100 ringgit trade and your fees are then 14 ringgit still, and it's 14%, it's almost impossible to make a win lah. Then when you calculate your risk reward ratio, it will be very off. It will be very off. So that is my advice. Again, everyone is different. If you want to start with 100 just to try, it's completely fine as well. But if you really want to start making money, I would say at least 1,000 ringgit per trade. This is the same advice that I share with my friends lah. All right. Brian actually just asked the same question. Brian, I hope you were there to hear our answer for that. All right. Salina is asking, can I monitor my REITs in the Rakuten app? I assume you can, Mun Keong.
Yes, can.
You can, right?
You can even create a watch list and add all your preferred REITs into it so you can monitor it easily. Yeah.
Right. Cool.
Watch list.
We actually just made a video about REITs, I think 2-3 weeks ago, talking about why people invest in REITs and then some of the REITs that we liked in the Malaysian market. So maybe Salina, you can just take a look at our video. But yes, you can view it on the app. Daniel, don't know. Okay, I think Mun Keong, this one is a bit off topic, but okay. Any advice for an engineer trying to get into the finance industry? Since you're the one working in the finance industry, I'm not. So,
finance industry. Any advice? If you're looking at the investment side, right? You probably need to get a license, because I think Securities Commission is basically advocating. Now if you want to give investment, if you are someone that look to provide investment advice and whatnot, then it's ideal to get a license to get yourself licensed. Basically, finance industry is pretty wide. So perhaps you gotta let me know which kind of finance section that you are looking for lah. But I can only give you until investment partner lah.
Yeah, I think actually that question was quite vague lah. Yeah, it's okay. I think it was good. Spence, you wanted a guide to operate the Rakuten app. Actually, Spence, we have a video on that. We actually walk through the entire platform of how to use Rakuten. So you can just go on our channel. We actually show how to make a buy, how to make a sell, what do all the tabs mean. Kels is asking, how do you filter hundreds of stock in the market by technical analysis?
By technical analysis, how do you filter? How do you filter 100? I think I don't filter. I just I like certain sectors. I don't like certain sectors. That's how I differentiate the sectors. Like I like tech stocks. I don't like construction. So construction is already out of my picture already. So I like So like from there, technology, you have a lot of stocks, right? From there, I filter out the stocks that I like. then I put it into my watch list. Or consumer stocks. There's so many consumer stocks out there, so I only filter out the consumer stocks, put in another watch list. That's how I filter out. Yeah.
Yeah, I think what I would say to this also is even though I'm trading, right, I try to trade companies that I like. Meaning, even though I'm doing it for 1 month or even 1 week, right, I still try to find companies that I like lah, so that if anything happens or maybe if things start to develop better in that 2 to 3 weeks I'm holding, a trade can always turn into an investment. It can turn into a longer term investment. So that's what I try to do. And then if you want to do technical analysis, I think, like I said earlier, how I do it is I choose the stocks I like. I have a watch list of everything. And then I use a bit of technical analysis to determine my entry and exit points. So for example, if I want to invest a total of 10,000, how I would do it is first buy at maybe 2,500. And then when I get another entry point, I'll add another second buy, third buy, and then I'll have my full buy lah. That's how I usually position size my trades or investments. All right. Maybe you think. Sorry. Go on.
I think a lot of people would be interested to know how do you actually decide on the entry and exit point. It would be a pretty good topic to talk on,
for sure.
Actually,
next time I think next time we get you on, we'll talk about technical analysis. I think a lot of people are interested.
Yep.
I think a lot of questions, but we just take 2 more lah. Mun Keong, you okay with that? We just take 2 more questions.
Yep.
Not sure if I can answer this. Let me know if I can, Mun Keong. Is there any sector that you guys are bullish on?
I personally don't like to provide investment advice. But what I can tell you is that you can actually join our Rakuten Trade Telegram group. Is managed by our research, our equity sales team. So they provide stocks to watch basically. And then if you're a Rakuten Trade user, you could also access to our sector reports. I think every weekly, if I'm not mistaken, you can actually access to that report.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's better to listen from the experts themselves.
Actually, sorry, to go back onto Cal's area's question on how do we filter stocks by technical analysis, I remember Rakuten sends technical analysis reports as well. They tell you like this stock is going to break out. It's super interesting. I think that's actually one of the things I really liked about Rakuten. They give you all this actionable stuff. But as I would say, even though I'm talking to Mun Keong from Rakuten here, when you listen to people's advice, even from professionals in Rakuten, always don't just copy lah. Even though Rakuten is an amazing company and their analysts are probably super smart, don't just copy everything they do. Take a look at what they say and then decide on your own. Yes, exactly.
And analyze it and just try to put yourself in the shoes. Why are they mentioning this? And see if it aligns with your investment objective. That's what I would say. Agree with you, Emil. Agree with you.
Yeah. Okay. Then the final question we will take today before I wrap off is, does Rakuten platform provide access for foreign and local ETFs? I think it's only local, right?
We provide ETFs that is denominated in the ringgit Malaysia. If you're talking about foreign, I think there's a few foreign ETFs that is denominated in ringgit Malaysia, if I'm not mistaken, that you can trade on. In RT, yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Do you know what they are?
So can't really remember. Can't really remember on that. So just too sudden for me.
No worries.
But majority of the local ETF, yes, you can purchase it. You can purchase it on Rakuten Trade lah.
Okay, cool. Very, very, very cool. Okay. Then maybe right before we wrap off, Mun Keong, if any of our viewers here now that are watching, they want to start investing and they're ready, and they said, they have their money in the bank account already, they think that Rakuten is the right platform for them. How do they go about signing up, and how long would it take roughly for them to be able to make the first trade?
So it will take you about 2 hours, and it's a completely online process. You do not need to come to our office to sign up any forms and whatnot. Everything is done online. If you are signing up for a cash upfront account, it's just only 3 steps only. So probably can be done within 10 to 15 minutes. Upload your IC, your other details and whatnot. And within 2 working hours, you are ready to go. Yeah.
Well, that's very fast. Actually, that was one of the reasons I signed up for Rakuten. I can't imagine going to a bank to open an account and everything, man. I'm a millennial. Millennials don't do that. Everything is online. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Mun Keong. If any of you are interested, you can use our link, which we'll leave in the description below. You'll get 500 Rakuten points, and you can start trading maybe even as soon as Monday if everything's all right. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you all very much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you're watching this on YouTube or even now, give us a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Thanks a lot, Mun Keong,
Yep.
and hope all of you have a very good weekend. See you guys later.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye.